This transfer window, as I said, has been absolutely mental, and we've pulled off some muggeries. And welcome back to another episode and a brand new season 18 of Outcasts to Icons. Of course, if you've been enjoying the series up to this point, drop a like on the video. That would be tremendous. I've got to address the elephant in the room. So let me explain. So I'd completely forgotten about the Champions League final particularly. I wasn't really paying attention. I assumed that it must have just auto-continued through the screen that even showed me because I wasn't paying attention. And I thought to myself, as I was about to record today's episode, oh yeah, I wonder how Southampton got in the final. Yeah, they won. They won the Champions League final in extra time against Atletico Madrid. Went 2-0 up in the opening sort of half an hour. Athletic got back into the game and then Wenshin got a 92nd minute equaliser for Atleti before Diagne scored in the 120th minute to win the Champions League for Southampton. So there you go. Europa Conference League, Europa League, Champions League, back-to-back under Ralph Hasenhüttl. I've never seen anything like it. In addition to that, this game was played at Atletico Stadium. Oh dear, the ignominy. But there you go. A weird one for your Saints fans. So I'll be honest with you, I've got a question of the day for you. What's the weirdest Champions League final and weirdest winner that you've ever seen? Because that for me is up there. Now, obviously, we've got our Champions League group stage draw at the end of the episode. I've got a big signing in the works that has not been confirmed yet, but even if that does confirm, I probably will save that one for next time just because it's very large. Naturally, there's been some incredible sagas, as is always the case. We start off today at home away at Frosinone in the league to bed in some of our new players. This was a summer where I had really anticipated only making a couple of little signings here and there. It's been a bit more hectic than that because a lot more players have left than I would have anticipated, but I believe there's good reasons, and I think we've done the right thing in almost every situation. Personally anyway. So there's a lot more left and a lot more joined than I would have expected, but to make up for those. But it is what it is. Also, in other sad news, our chief scout of many, many years finally retired. But worry not, I've replaced him with Jurgen Klopp. I look at him. Look at him. Tell me that he's not a good chief scout, because I'm 69 years old as well. I don't know what more you want out of this. I was doing some scout searching just to find a new one, and then up pops Mr. Jurgen Klopp as a chief scout, and I'm like, you know what? I'd take that. He's pretty bloody excellent. After he was managing Chelsea for a couple of seasons, albeit not for very long, after his long spell at Liverpool, he went to Juventus for as a role as a scout, and then he left there and is now our chief scout. So Jurgen taking a step back in the latter stages of his career. Nice. This transfer window, as I said, has been absolutely mental, and we've pulled off some muggeries, but it's not going to be a standard one of me show you the outs and me show you the ins, because a lot of them are reliant on each other, so we'll kind of just hop back and forth. First things first though, Max Lebear has left the club to go to join Marseille. I felt it was the right choice at the time for him. 23 years old, his contract was coming to an end, and I felt like either we gave him a new deal and he just sort of sat there not really doing anything for us, or we tried to move him on. Now, I'd actually tried to move him on before, and the best I'd seen was a £6.5 million bid from Benevento, which just didn't really do it for me. However, I offered him out, and Marseille were like, yeah, I'll give you 14 million. Admittedly, his value has actually gone slightly higher than that, so they've still probably got a good deal out of it, but for a player we signed for free to go move on for £14 million was a pretty good deal to start off the summer quite nicely. There was a Southampton backup goalkeeper who had got England caps, incredibly, so they had two outrageous English goalkeepers, but the second one obviously wasn't getting any game time, so he wanted to leave. Now, I was looking at him, it was going to cost us about £45 million, but he was a decent keeper, like a very, very decent keeper. Obviously we still have Milosevic knocking about to cover if we needed. But the problem was I couldn't get any real clarification if he was even going to fill that non-EU slot, because I don't know when his last England cap was, and it was only 4 England caps. So I think 5 was the minimum, which is very frustrating. So as a result of that, I had a deal agreed to sign the guy for £45 million, but just in case, I noticed that Chelsea had put a bid in for another goalkeeper that I was looking at, a guy from Braga called Franz Speacher, who I'll show you guys in a sec. So I thought, you know what, the guy had a £50 million release clause, so I just triggered the guy from Braga's release clause too. He wasn't quite as good as the guy from Southampton, but he was EU, slightly younger, and looked like he had a higher potential ceiling, even if he wasn't quite at the right level yet, but I still felt like he was a massive step up for us, so I put the bid in for them anyway. And then he came back. I figured he'd just go to Chelsea because we both triggered his release clause. No, he chose us, and I got the confirmation through before the other one, and I thought to myself, you know what? I think I'm just going to do this because I might be able to force Chelsea then, because Chelsea were also after the Saints goalkeeper. I thought I might be able to force Chelsea to go buy the Saints one for £45 million if I stole the guy from Braga. So I agreed, cancelled the Saints deal, and we got the guy from Braga. And this is that guy. This is Franz Speacher, or Speaker. I'm not entirely sure on how you pronounce his name. Point is, £15 million was his release clause from Braga, came through at the club, Portuguese international with 4 caps. He didn't actually have any caps when he joined us. Now, here's a weird one. I think there might have been a slight glitch, because I'm fairly certain I put a international wage clause with 1 cap of 100k if he got the cap. But I think what's happened is he got that cap after agreeing the deal, but before actually signing for us. And either there's a glitch because of that, or I've just misread what I put, and actually it was the 71,000 was the international wage clause cap. But yeah, a weird one, because I could have sworn I was expecting him to be on more money than that when he got his first international caps, because he's now picked up 4 of them since then. But as you can see, a really solid goalkeeper. He's coming in and is immediately worth nearly double what we've paid for him, which is a really solid sign. 3.5 stars current ability, which is, not super important, but still good attributes to go with it. 22. Still, though, rocking the 4.5 star potential, which is kind of interesting, actually, for a player that's as not as old as this, but it's interesting that it's still got so much room to grow. Good reflexes. He is decently faster than Milosevic. He's not maybe quite as tall, but he's got some lovely mentals. Reflexes are good. Command of area is really nice. I think that his eccentricity being slightly lower, I think than Milosevic certainly will help us out a little bit, because Milosevic did some weird things. I think he's definitely an upgrade, and given that we'd sold Max Lebear for 15 million nearly, to bring in Franz Speacher on essentially a free transfer based on that, and make a decent amount of stonks and piss off Chelsea at the same time, was a really good step in the right direction. And then, I'd like to introduce you to a very stupid man. This is Matteo Debuchy, Chelsea manager, and being conned by us extraordinaire. So instead of going after the Southampton goalkeeper that I figured we were going to force him into a corner, he had a 500 IQ play coming up. And that was to buy Petar Milosevic off of us for £23 million. I didn't expect it. Chelsea put a bid in. I went, yoink, I'll take your hand off with that one, lads. Now, actually looking at some of the thing about Milosevic, I think, is that he's brilliant as far as he's got a decent set of, pure goalkeeping technicals. He's a very good keeper in that. Does lack a few little things like his eccentricity. He's not great. But, the thing I think that really lets him down is his mental attributes most of the time. It does seem that that's one of the real key things. That, and he is very, very slow. So I think maybe he'll do well for Chelsea, but I just don't think he was going to do well for us. And I think we've made the right decision by bringing in Franz Speacher, who I believe can develop well beyond him, and also making £8 million on the deal, and also selling him to Chelsea. I don't know why I find that so funny. I just did. Some goalkeepers just don't fit at certain clubs in the way they play, and I'm happy. Hopefully he'll have a long and successful career at Chelsea, just not too successful. Next up on the chopping block, Candido. He's back again. We could. It felt like we may as well. It was, once again, essentially a free loan. We're just paying his wages for the season. And now on to another saga. And I still think we've done okay out of this one. So, essentially, I wanted to look for a new attacking midfielder, someone who could really give us a bit of oomph in that position on the pitch. And I did identify a guy, but by the time I'd actually found the guy, he was already under a bid from Southampton, and I didn't have him fully scouted to the point where I wanted to splash £50 million on the guy. So, in the end, unfortunately, I think he would have chosen them anyway, because they had just won the Champions League. Not much to my not knowledge at the time there, but yes. So I think that makes the right decision for him. But then later in the window, I noticed that they'd put him up for loan. So I said, yeah, I think I'll probably do that. This is Steph Castles, a 22-year-old Dutch international, 25 caps and 5 goals for the Netherlands. He joined Southampton from Ajax for £55 million this summer. Now, we could have probably afforded him, but at the time I was still unsure about what we were doing with other things, so I don't think it was the best decision at the time. And then they've loaned him out to us, and we're not paying anything other than his wages, which admittedly is a lot, but still. The fact that we get to not have to worry about the transfer fee for Steph Castles this season, and you'll like this, 18 free kicks. Man can take a hell of a set-piece delivery. Still not great on the corners, but that's a hell of a set-piece specialist we can have from free kicks this season. So I do expect us to score a couple of direct ones, and likely a few more indirect ones too. But decent passing, incredible vision, outrageous mental attributes as well. 6'3". He just kind of does a bit of everything. And he could play on the right as well if we absolutely needed him to. With that composure, who'd bet against him, to be honest? I just think he's absolutely spectacular for that advanced playmaker role. And the fact that we're only paying his wages for the full season and not having to worry about the transfer issues. He's injury prone as well, which is one of the other reasons I was a little bit suspicious about him. But I feel like for a season-long loan, I was more than happy to do that, because now we're not lumbered with his huge transfer fee, and I bet you Saints would probably let us have him next season too. So at this point, I kind of plugged a few of the positions, and I hadn't really spent a great deal of money, and that which I had spent, we'd kind of broken even with the likes of Milosevic and Max Lebear leaving. So I was like, right, what do we need to do? Tie down a few more players to new contracts. And that's when things started to get a bit weird. So I was like, Magnus Nissen only has a year left on his deal. One of the annoying things about when we signed him was that we were unable to get him on a really long-term deal, and he refused to have any kind of contract extension clauses. And I shouldn't have let it go on that long, but it was originally, I think, only a 3-year deal to begin with, which is still maybe could have done with it sooner. He's on like 60 grand a week, 70, I think. I tried to offer him a new contract. He wanted £180,000 a week. So, to clarify, second choice striker, backup player, technically, I suppose, although his squad status might have suggested otherwise. He wanted to be a star player and wanted to be the highest paid player at the club by a considerable margin. And at that point, I was kind of just like, no, I'm not doing that. But I'm also not going to lose Magnus Nissen for free at the end of the season, so I had to take the decision to try to find a buyer for him. Not really what I expected to be doing this summer with him, honestly, but when they back you into a corner like that and want nearly 200 grand a week to be a backup striker, no. Not when Tynan Overmars is on 50 grand a week and he's our main man. So I found a buyer, and this is what I find even more hilarious. He was happy to accept a squad player role at Everton on 100 grand a week, despite asking me for 180 grand a week to play in the Champions League. I don't know. £27 million was the deal in the end. I think we've been a bit ripped off there, maybe, but the thing is, we still made money on the deal. And that's the key thing. Like, we've had him for a couple of seasons. We've made some money on the deal overall, and I was just a little... I don't know. I just don't know if he was going to get the game time that he maybe would have wanted here this season. But, you know, we've managed to make a profit on the deal. We've managed to stop ourselves from losing a player for free at the end of the season. I still find it annoying when players join other clubs for like nearly half what they were asking to stay at your club and even accept a lower squad status role. But I guess it's because Everton in the Premier League, who, as far as I know, are not in Europe, but sure. Ooh. But that sort of stuff happens. So at that point, we'd lost both Lebear and Magnus Nissen, so it was looking a little bit thin in behind Overmars. So at that point, I kind of said to myself, right, we can't really rely on Siggy to have to play that role this season. I don't want to get too bogged down in the lack of depth, so we do need to find another striker. Thankfully, I always keep an eye on a few, and that's exactly what I did. I went straight in for this guy. This is Janderson, or Janderson. I'm not entirely sure how you pronounce his name. He's coming from Olympiacos for £29 million, which I still think is maybe... They reckon it's slightly overpriced. But when we've just sold Magnus Nissen for 27 million, I was happy to play the 2 million difference because I think this guy is better, personally, than Magnus Nissen. Now, he is coming on 100k. It's like if Magnus Nissen had just wanted 100k, he could have stayed. I would have happily given him 100k. 180? No chance. So Janderson comes in on 100k, 5-year deal from Olympiacos, started off at Flamengo. But the thing I like about him is obviously he's got great finishing, great composure, great first touch. He kind of just ticks every single box as far as an advanced forward goes. The anticipation, composure. Look at that. The mentals on this guy. And he's extremely good physicality as well. Not super quick, but he's got good acceleration as well. Jumping reach isn't awful as well. Great stamina, strength as well of 16 strength. He is a boss of a striker. Considering he's only 5'11" as well, he really does have some serious like muscle power packed into this guy. And the thing, wanted to be a regular starter, happy with that. We can rotate him and Overmars around, and I think he's a better player than both Magnus Nissen and Max Lebear. So to ship those two out for like a combined 45 million and bring this guy in for 29 million, which was his release scores, totally fine with that. I'm really, really happy to bring Janderson into the club, and because I think he does count as one of our non-EU players. I'm almost certain he does, but there was no big deal made about it, so it seems fine. And then lastly, a slightly sadder one, in a way, but I felt like it was one of those things that once again kind of had to happen. We talked about him in the analysis video a little bit about how Josip Glavaš kind of felt like he'd peaked out a little bit, and he was never going to be able to really get much better than he was. He had a year left on his contract. He didn't want as much money, but he still wanted like a lot more than that, let's put it that way. But then Wolfsburg came in and said, we'll give you £22 million for him. And with a year left on his deal, I didn't think we could really say no to that, given that we'd also brought in Steph Castles, so that role was going to get even harder for Glavaš to find any football for us this season, with Granados being pushed down the pecking order. I wouldn't have sold him if Wolfsburg didn't put on such a good offer at the time, but when they've got a year left on their contract, and you get 22 million rather, I was happy. And that was the last of the outs, but we do still have a couple more ins. The first one is Jacomo Pechi, who's joined us on a full-time transfer from Atalanta. Now, mainly I picked this guy up because he was available, honestly. He's more one for the future of the club, but to be honest, for a player who's one for the future, he's still ain't bad now, is he? Really? In the grand scheme of things. Left-footed, something slightly different too. He's cost us like 9 million, so slightly higher than his value, but it's the Italian tax, I suppose, that you pay. So to bring in a young Italian player, I was happy to do that. Good driven personality, solid-ish finishing, good composure too, which is really important. I like him. And lastly, this is a signing that's just, you're not going to see much of, Jakes Olabe, which, what a great first name, Jakes. I'm guessing it's Jakes, but still, left-back option. Although apparently he can basically play anywhere. I'm sure you could do a job through the middle with 13 composure, to be honest. He's just sort of here to fill that role out a little bit more, really. Not much more I can say about that. This is still moving around all over the place. But the thing is, I do still have another transfer in the signing, sort of in the in the works, because our transfer, we've actually still managed to make more money than we've spent this summer. So as a result of that, we still have a nice chunk of change left, which I'm probably going to blow into a left-back option to rotate around with Jan Brunner. I'm probably going to go after that guy that I showed you guys in the analysis video, Alberto Giacomo. I say probably. The deal is basically done. We're just waiting for confirmation. So if that comes off, we'll talk about that more in the next video, but he's an exciting player, and I think having two excellent options in that left-back spot will allow us so much more rotation options and allow the potential for serious injuries, because I think we got a lot worse when Jan Brunner got hurt last season, and I want to avoid that being a possibility this year. The squad probably won't look that different, honestly, to last season. Overmars there, that's fine. Castles definitely going through the middle like that. Gregory there, Bruno, Uriarte, Believ, Michalczyk, Speacher in goal. Like, I think it's definitely got better. Speacher's got room to grow as well, but I think he's just, generally speaking, just a better goalkeeper than Milosevic, and will hopefully get even better than that as well. Going to start Lancer on the right-hand side, because I do want to give him a chance to get back into things this season. Marco Quarto sadly has an injury again and will be out for a while. So the squad overall doesn't actually look a great deal different, with the additions really of just Castles in the first team squad right now and Speacher. But obviously we've got the likes of Janderson in there too. We've got Rivas is back. We've got hopefully soon our new left back as well. So I think we've had a pretty solid summer. And as for our aims for the season overall, I want to try to win the league again. Cup I'm not so bothered about. Our task really is do well in the league, try to win a bit more in the Champions League. I mean, not that we can do much more. We just have to get to the final, really. That's our task. Now, the group will heavily depend on that. I think we are pot 2 this season, though, which is... No, we're pot 1, because we won the league. Nice. I forgot about that. I mean, out of our current lineup, I'm just excited to see what Steph Castles can do coming straight in there. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Marco Quarto, just like a more accomplished, which is actually saying something. Like a Marco Quarto plus type of player. Also going to be excited to see what Augusto Rivas can do this season. Now that he's back at the club, I'm firmly... And Kessels is actually on corners too. He does have decent corners. They're just not as good as perhaps his free kicks are. But I think having a designated set-piece taker on both of them probably wouldn't hurt. Lancer! What a save from Benjamin. I'm hoping for big things out of him this season. Gregory to the edge of the box. He's got a bit of cover here from Castles. You might just go for it. Oh, it's an absolutely wonderful goal. Steph Castles, 8 minutes into his debut for Sassuolo, has already hit the ground running from that attacking midfield spot. He looks extremely comfortable in that position, just picking the ball up, spraying it around, finding little gaps for himself. And if he can do a bit of that for us from time to time as well, then I think that is going to be a very piece of astute business. The fact that he's not even going to be a permanent signing for us this season and we're only paying his wages, that's saving us like 50 million quid. Obviously, there's the downside of not having him as a permanent signing, so that element of security, but we essentially get the player I wanted anyway without having to pay any form of transfer fee. So I still think we've made out like bandits on that deal as well, to be honest. Bruno, round the side for Lancer, and it's 2-0. Pierangelo Lancer hits the ground running in the brand new season. Jan Brunner grabs his assist. It's nice to see Lancer getting on the score sheet. We know how well he started last season, and I believe that a nice run in the team for him right now is exactly what he needs to get back to scoring. But I'm fully confident that even if he has a slight downturn in form, Siggy Johnson will step in there happily and do a great job. But I want to give Lancer the chance. I mean, we just look imperious at the moment, and that's exactly what I wanted to see. Just so comfortable in the opening 22 minutes. Don't foul him. Just let him run through if you need to. Good save from Speacher. Okay, free kick chance now for Steph Castles. Can he put a wonderful ball in? So not a bad pass. And Lancer's header is well saved, and it's over the line. I think it's going to be offside, but it's a great ball in. I don't know how that's offside or who. What's the goal? I don't know. That's the second time in this save that has happened that we've actually seen a goal awarded by VAR. Whips it through, all the way through for Lancer, and it's 4. Pierangelo Lancer makes it 4-0 inside half an hour. Oh my giddy aunt. I know it's only Frosinone, but still, they're a top-flight side, and at the moment we're making them look like a bunch of pub team players. This is quite exciting about what could potentially happen for us this year. Bruno with a lovely ball through. I mean, the first shot's a decent block, actually, but nothing done about the second one. It's not a bad pass. Oh, he's got a good touch there, Karanka. Should be okay to get a block in, though. Good save again from Speacher. He's looking solid hands so far. Gregory, Brunner, round the side for Overmars. Can he finish it? No, he can't. Great save. Lovely bit of play, though. Gregory. Oh, lovely back heel. Castles. And Lancer's header is over the crossbar. Songomo. It's nice play, actually, and Speacher with another brilliant stop. Castles is balling again. And, oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. It's another one, and it's Lancer on the hat-trick, and it's 5-0 before half-time. I just don't know anymore. 5-0 to Sassuolo in the first half here. Watch it be 5-0 at full time, by the way. Castles again has put in an absolutely lovely ball. It's deflected off the defender, and Lancer's completed himself a hat-trick in the first half here. Oh my god. Somewhat of a good first half from the lads there. Even Speacher. Like, he's had to pull off a couple of great saves so far and has done it with excellency. He's going to go alone there. This is the Pierangelo Lancer that we saw at the start of last season. We know it. He's... Oh my. He nearly did the whole lot of them. Benjamin, oh my giddy aunt. Cassels now, Yanderson, Sigurd Jonsson's throw, and he's not managed to hammer it home. Great stop. Back for Milivojev. All the way across for Jan Brunner. Block. And Cassels now pokes it home for 6 and his second goal of the game. What a debut from Steph Castles. I just didn't expect us to win 6-0 on the opening day of the season, but we have just been flawless here. Castles has just been look at the little flicks he's been popping out here. Just the simple little things. His vision has been fantastic. Comes to him here and he's just poked it home first time. 2 goals for him from open play. Oh, which means Cassels is going to get one last chance potentially from the free kick to deliver something. No, referee couldn't bear it as a 6-0 to Sassuolo. Steph Castles gets a 9.8 rating on the night. Incredible. Lancer with a hat-trick in there too. Franz Speacher still made some great stops in this game though, so that's what I want to see though. Keeping a clean sheet in a game where we probably should have conceded. That's what a good goalkeeper can do, I suppose. Just saw someone in the social feed say, Steph Castles didn't do that much for me. 2 goals, 1 assist, 9.8, 10 key passes. Yeah, nothing, mate. Okay, it's draw time. So obviously the top seed, there's Southampton in there, with Dortmund, PSG, Chelsea, Real Madrid, Bayer Leverkusen are a top seed. I think they must have won, well, I don't know, actually. I don't know how they become a top seed, but there you go. Some interesting teams down in the bottom pot, but we just got to go, right? Group H for us. I think because Real Madrid must have won the Europa League, but because they also won La Liga, maybe Bayer Leverkusen got the top seed because of being the runner-up in the Europa League. I don't know. Oh, it's Tottenham or it's Arsenal or Man City. Oh, God, Man City. Then again, Man City are not what they used to be, so I'm actually not that bothered by that. They were the lowest-ranked team in the second pot. I mean, I'd take a Valencia Valencia, Lyon, Benfica. Benfica's fine. I don't think that's too bad, actually. Benfica and Man City in our group so far. Give us someone like Basel. Okay. Maybe Red Star? That'd be kind of fun. Oh, maybe. Red Star or Midtjylland would be kind of... Oh, okay, we got Red Star, Crvena Zvezda. That's pretty sick. Okay, that's a pretty good group for us, really. Like, us, Man City, Red Star and Benfica. I think that is a group that we can win, personally. I think we'll be in a battle with Man City, but Red Star and Benfica, those are games I genuinely think this side is capable of winning this group. A good start to the season for us. A 6-0 trashing of Frosinone away from home is exactly how you'd want to start. I have managed to agree the deal of that new guy. He has joined us, and the day he joined us, Jan Brunner got injured. So... just as well I bloody did it, isn't it? It's just how it goes, isn't it? So there we go. Yeah, join tomorrow for some Champions League action. It's going to be fun. I think we've got a great chance at competing on that front, particularly this season. But I think in the league, we look absolutely unstoppable. If we can keep Steph Castles fit and Lancer, oh my goodness me. So yeah, I'll see you guys soon. If you've enjoyed this episode, drop a like. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. I stream on Twitch Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays. Follow there too. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for more Champions League loveliness. Thank you so much for watching. Hold your gun. Capybara. Bye-bye.